I open up the items here. Welcome to Tuesday Tech Talk. It's 5:02. I've got to get where is mail? Running a little late. And we are going to, there it is, working session. And I need to open up Google Meet. Welcome. We're going to start talking about we are going to start talking about what do you call it? Any Nfpa 70E. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's been a rough day. Okay, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to hit close that and join. We'll see if there's anybody online. View all. Admit. All right. The team is in the house. Whoop, I got to turn on my, hold on. I'm all discombobulated. I got to get sound. Hey, Phil, Steve. How you guys doing?
Guys.
Hey.
All right, so you got to see my other side now.
Oh, look at you. Rock star.
Where did I get? There, we gotta have the big screen.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, look at that. Jeez.
I just have the 65-incher.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my office.
Hey.
Versus my home office.
I'm running my green screen today. I can't get my OBS to pop up and do the cancellation. I have to have my nice fancy background.
Oh, I mean, you have to turn OBS on and set it up as a virtual camera.
Yeah, that's what I usually do, and it's not pulling in my camera.
Oh, really?
I'm starting to get mad.
Well, that's not good. That's called ungood. And we are we are doing.
I'll only be able to be on for a couple minutes, and then I got class.
So. Oh, call us when you have no class.
Well, I was around on Sunday morning, though.
Waiting. I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. That's okay. I was with the pups, and we were out in, where were we? We were in Zelienople, Pennsylvania. Okay. Share a window, and I'm going to share that. All right. So you guys are seeing that, and I need to open up another window here. What's this? Ignore. Okay. So that's that. All right. So, and geez, oh man. All right. I'm going to open up our Word document. I haven't looked at, I don't think I've looked at this Word document in a little bit. Outside of a week.
Yeah, when I looked at it on Sunday, it didn't look like it was changed since the last time we were on.
Yeah, no, I have not had a chance to play with it. Yeah. And I'm trying to think of where we left off. So
at the end.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? It's going to be at the last place I look.
Yeah.
It usually is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's always at the last place. Yeah.
Exactly right. Okay,
so Steve, where are you at while Tom is doing that?
I'm in Franklin, which is a suburb of Milwaukee. It's kind of near the Milwaukee airport, if you're familiar with any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just drove through there. Well, not through Milwaukee, but I drove from Minnesota to Lower Michigan last week. I came home on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And where are you at?
I'm about an hour and a half west of Minneapolis.
Oh, okay.
On the edge of the Great Prairie.
Prairie land. Okay, so we went over, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm getting rid of this overview of change. I think that was a Just it was a good thought to begin with, but it just is not going to stand the test of time. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so let's tighten that up. That's what it's going to look like. So I have 110. We went through one. Oh, I know where we were left off. Qualified person, didn't we?
No, I thought we did that. I don't have my save document because my save document's on my other desktop.
110.9 overcurrent protection. Where was qualified? Human error, job safety training. We talked about all of that. There's the qualified person. I think we made it into 120.
Yeah, we were past qualified person.
Oh, yeah. I think we're in 120. 120.5, lockout, tagout procedures. 120.6. Okay. I think that's where we stopped, 120.6. Let's take a look. 120.6 is process for establishing and verifying electrically safe work condition. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. Oh, yeah, this was the point of, this should say the point of work and not at the work location. I remember having that discussion. Oh, yeah, there's one. Oh, man, we made it to 130. We were out of 120. We were into 130. We were screaming. You know, we're almost done with the book. Okay, that's where we were. 130.5. So 130.1.
We're going to find out in a second here what happens if I try to do Zoom and this meet at the same time.
Oh, it'll work. Sure it will. Okay, 130.1 is the scope. Is now scope. So the section was revised, including the numbering. And we're going to say that the previous editions of this document saw 130.1 as general. This is changed to scope. And I think that's the only real change that occurred there. Revised in accordance with 221, piece of cake. Let me get my book. You know what else I bought? So, big news. I'm going to take the electrical safety workshop, our booth. We're going to go live. I bought a Netgear. What is this? This is an M5. MR5, which is a Nighthawk M5. I got 100 gig with T-Mobile, and we're gonna live stream from our booth at the Electrical Safety Workshop. So that ought to be fun.
So, do you have a schedule, like an agenda for Electrical Safety Workshop on
Yes.
what days or what?
Yeah, we do. I can get
Where
that.
can I find that? I was digging the other day.
You know what? I got to check with Nihad to make sure that the website's going to be updated, but I'll get you a copy of the agenda.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
I think I found a way to get there. So.
Oh, are you going to get there?
I'm 90% sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I'm going to be there from Saturday to Saturday. You're going to have to look up. We'll have to go do dinner.
Right on. Yep. Yeah. That'd be really cool. I've got work to do in Sarasota on Wednesday. And I'm thinking I'm going to try and maybe get there a day early. So I might be able to work there Tuesday and Wednesday and then head over to Jacksonville. And if I can get there by Friday, I got to find a way to get there by hook or by crook.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be absolutely awesome. All right. So A is, I got to figure out how to turn that off. Somebody told me there's a way to turn that off. A is when required, and when work is performed as permitted in accordance with 110.2C. That didn't change. I'm just going to open it up in the book here. So we're in chapter 130. Yep, 130.1, 130.2. A is when required. Very little changes in A last cycle. B, elements of a work permit. The informational note was modified. So is that the only change? That is the personal. That's pretty much it. And then C, I hate this too. Dadgummit. C. You gotta do that, and then you have to hit the backspace. You hit space, you have to hit the backspace again. Exemptions. To work permit. And the reason I'm putting some of these in, I know it didn't change, but I don't know what's going to happen the next cycle. So I figure might as well. And nothing changed in exemptions of work permit. And then we got 130.4, shock risk assessment. Include the use of PPE. So in A, include the use of PPE from the list, item 3, which now focuses on determining if additional protective measures are required. PPE is covered in 130.4C. 130.4 ABC, additional protective measures. Okay. So that's already covered. That's why they removed it there. So it was duplicate. B is estimate of likelihood and severity. C is additional protective measures. None of that changed. D is documentation. And then we got the shock boundary. So I'm going to just do this. All right. So shock protection boundaries, that changed. What? Really? Note B. There's a new note B. Oh, that's not a big deal. C, a definition, Article 100 text for formatting C. I can't, that's the only, it's very small change. I'll take a look at what the FR says. So C, definition in Article 100 and text in 130.4 F3 instead of D2. And all it says is conflict. It corrects a conflict in the table. So that's a piece of cake.
I wonder what the conflict was.
It was looking at 130.4 D2. So 130.4 D. Oh, yeah, I remember this. 130.4 D is documentation, and there's no D2. And what they meant to say was 130.4 F3, which is entering the limited approach boundary.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's so that was an error in the past, and they just fixed it. Piece of cake. F. Let's take a look at F. Oh, the limited approach boundary. So one. I'll probably regret putting this in there, but one is approach by unqualified persons. Nothing changed there. 2 is work at or close to the limited approach boundary. Oh, they got rid of warn him or her. And it says shall be applied to advise. So what 2 says is where one or more unqualified persons are working at or close to the limited approach boundary, the alerting methods in 130.80. 130.80. What is that? 130.8. 7. 130.8. There is no 130.80. Wait. 130.8. I'm looking in the old version. Let's look at the new version, 130.8. Oh, is alerting techniques. All right, so they moved some things around in 130. Alerting techniques. You know what? It looks like that's new.
I'm trying to find it. Find 130.8.
Oh, but she had 130.8. Oh, is new. No, it's not. Alerting techniques. Let's take a look at what they did there.
Other the old 130.8 is other precautions for personnel activities.
Oh, you know what? Here it is. It used to be 130.7E. Okay. Okay, so 130.80.
Oh, there it is. 8 alerting techniques. Yep, got it.
Yep, alerting techniques is the old 130.7E, which was moved as part of the first draft to 130.8. And it says this action editorially relocates requirements for alerting techniques previously located in 130.7E. Alerting techniques were misplaced, which addresses personal and other protective equipment. This action properly relocates the alerting techniques into 130.8, which addresses other precautions for personnel activities for clarity and usability. Okay, so what they're saying is section 130.7, which I know I'm going to have to just copy and paste this, but I might as well capture this one over here. 130.7 is titled, I think it's personal protective equipment, right?
30.7 listed general 130.7.
Yeah, personal and other protective equipment. 130.7 is titled personal.
Yep.
And other protective equipment. The presence of a first level subdivision titled alerting techniques is not appropriate for this section. Alerting techniques was moved to 130.8, which is titled other precautions for personnel activities. Other precautions for personnel activities. This is the more appropriate section for this content. Now the question is, did they change it? Right? Alerting techniques had safety signs and tags. There's safety signs and tags. They modified the informational note. It has barricades. They didn't change, and they didn't change attendance. So all they did was move that over. After the informational note to E1, informational note to 130.80. 1 was modified to align with the style manual. All right. Now that's going to be misplaced because I'll have to put this in 130.8, but at least we know what they're doing. And the word advise was changed to warn. adds clarity but doesn't change the intent, and they remove the words warn him or her. Or gender neutral.
Yeah, that alerting tag. It looks like they did the same thing with F too, so you might as well kind of kill that one at the same time.
When you say F,
130.7 F got moved to 130.8 P for the same reasons.
Did it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what I'll do here. It got moved to 130.7 F got moved to 130.8 P. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to do. 130.8. Other precautions for personnel activities. All right, so that becomes that's header 3. That means this has to be header 2. 130.8, and then we have I'm going to move this. Okay. Control-C, Control-V. And that's going to be heading 3. Yep. 130.80 alerting techniques is the old 130.70E, and then P, right?
Yeah, P is in Paul. Yep.
Oh, I should just look up here. Look-alike equipment. And I'm going to do this. Control-C, Control-V. 130.8P. I'm just going to say is the old 130.7F, which was moved as part of the first draft. Section 130.7 is titled the presence of the first alerting techniques, titled Look-alike equipment, is not appropriate for this section. Alert and more appropriate or located in 130.8, which is titled Other Precautions for Personal Activities. There we go. All right, so that's that. And then I'm going to change this back to 3. So that's O and P. So let's go back up again. F. Let's go back. I am still in 130.4. So I skipped ahead, right? Yeah. 130.4. A, B, C, D, E. And then you've got F. 2 points to 130.80, and I'll say C, section 130.80 for information on this new section on this new first level subdivision. .8. That way, at least we know, because if somebody's looking at the old one, they're going to say there was no 130.80. All right, so that's what they did there. That was in 2. 3 did not change, and G, restricted approach boundary, did not change. All right, so what I am going to do is just put G, restricted approach boundary. And that did not change. Gee, it's going to be 4. It's 3. Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right, so that's 130.4. That's the shock risk assessment. Now, arc flash risk assessment. What kind of changes do we got going on there? A, nothing changed in A, but I am going to put it in here. Is general. Nothing changed in A. B, estimate of likelihood and severity. All they did was change. Informational note number 2 is relocated to follow section 130.5b. The relocation is accurate as this informational note applies to all arc flash risk assessments. So one informational note following 130.7 Charlie 15b. 130.7 Charlie 15b. 7 Charlie 15b.
Hey.
Hey.
So you can be on Zoom and Google Meet at the same time. You just can't share the camera, but
Yeah.
I could hear you and my meeting, but so that worked out.
So you were not paying attention to your meeting because you were paying attention.
I got 2 ears.
You know what? I was just talking to Kevin Lippert. Kevin Lippert goes, he texts me and he says, because he called me, he said, call me back. I called him. He didn't answer. I said, call me. He says, I'm on 2 calls. I said, well, you could call me. And he says, I only have 2 ears.
That's right. You're the third. So I'm going to log off. I'm going to try to log back in a couple of minutes with my class on here. We'll see what happens.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Maybe they want to see how you make the magic happen behind the scenes.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right.
Love it.
That's too funny. All right. So they moved informational note number 2. So let's take a look. What is it?
DC arc flash.
Right. So 130.7 is arc flash risk assessment. No. 130.7 is what? Hold on. Personal.
Is it informational note following? It's following the table, right? So that's
No.
a DC. It's the DC arc flash table, or am I missing a boat here?
It's the
Not table, but the section.
Yeah, it's section B, which is direct current DC equipment. That's the title of it. It talks about the arc flash risk assessment performed in accordance with 130.5G indicates that an arc flash PPE is required, and the arc flash PPE category method is used for the selection of PPE, blah, 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 and incident energy analysis shall be required. And the informational note says, in most cases, closed doors do not provide enough protection to eliminate the need for PPE in situations in which the state of the equipment is known to readily change. And I remember we talked about this already. We did. And so they
People argue that with me all the time, and I just gotta go to that informational note now.
was relocated to 130.5B. Informational note number 2, following was relocated to follow section 130.5B. This clarifies that for all arc flash risk assessments, closed doors do not provide enough protection to eliminate the need for PPE in situations which the state of the equipment is known to readily change.
Yeah, it goes right into the section of estimate likelihood and severity. So the likelihood is, yeah.
So here's the issue.
Support that one.
Why? What does that mean?
It means when you go and pull a breaker handle, you need to estimate the likelihood and the severity when you go and switch a main breaker, for instance. And if the main breaker covers are in place, you still have to recognize that there is a probability of an arc flash problem when you go and switch a disconnect.
Well, but if it is properly maintained, there's no hazard. And
Right.
and what I do is I go to, how do we know that? So we go to table 130.5 Charlie, estimate of the likelihood of occurrence of an arc flash incident. And it says operation of a circuit breaker, switch, contactor, or starter in normal equipment condition, there's no occurrence of likelihood of an occurrence of an arc flash event. Now, this informational note says, in most cases, closed doors do not provide enough protection to eliminate the need for PPE in situations in which the state of the equipment is known to readily, oh, okay. Doors open or closed, racked in or out. Okay. So, all right. Readily changed. Readily changing examples are when the doors are opened and closed periodically, and or when equipment.
That's really weird because doors opening and closing isn't even the same thing as racking in and racking out. Them are two totally different things. Because doors open and close, isn't that you're just opening up a door? If a door has a hinge, is that opening the panel or is opening the door? Doors open. What the heck's a door?
Yeah, and you know, so the problem I have with this is, it says a common misconception is that even in non-arc resistant equipment, closed doors, okay, remove the need for PPE. This informational note relocated clarifies that closed doors do not provide enough protection to eliminate need for PPE. So if the door is closed, I would think that if the door's closed, then I think what they're saying is if the state of the equipment is in disrepair, right? It's not normal operating conditions. It could be poorly maintained. It could be whatever. They're
not referring to that. Not in that informational note.
I know.
They're saying in situations with the state of the equipment is known to readily change. So if you take this to the extreme, if you're changing a fuse while something is energized, that's energized work, right? So you're breaking your fuse. If you had the thing turned on and you pulled the fuse out, that'd be energized work. So this is just.
Well, when you're changing a fuse, the door is open.
Yeah.
So if you have closed doors, you're not going to be changing the fuses out that are inside. So the bad part of that informational note is that it says it has the term door on it, and if you look at electrical gear, the bulk majority of the stuff that people are working on does not have a door. All the time you see doors is if you're outside. You go into a lot of electrical vaults and it's just an open breaker. The front of the breaker is just staring you in the face. There's no doors on front of that. Mm-hmm. And the words I'm having a problem with are state of the equipment is known to readily change. The state of the equipment. The state of the equipment could mean whether the equipment is energized or de-energized. The state of the equipment could mean whether the breaker is open or closed. It's in a closed state. It's an open state. It's an energized state. It's a de-energized state. I think it's vague. And I'm not sure. And then what he says is a common misconception is that even in non-arc resistant equipment, closed doors remove the need for PPE. And it says the informational note relocated clarifies that closed doors do not provide enough protection to eliminate. I still say, and to your point, I think what they mean by state is the condition, because I could understand if the condition of the breaker is not normal for whatever reason. The fact that the door is closed and you're going to open and close it with the door closed does not mean you do not need personal protective equipment.
I think I don't agree with you. The state, if they're talking about the state of the equipment is known to readily change, the readily change part of what he's talking about here, I believe, is different than what his informational note. I think this informational note in the current version of 70E is portraying a different type of scenario than what his intention is.
Yeah, I'm just, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, really, because it says readily changed. Example, doors open or closed, rack in or rack out.
Oh, so if you open the door, that's a readily changing situation.
Well, but then I know it doesn't make sense because if I open the door, the door can't provide me protection because it's opened.
I have to open the door in order to activate the thing. The rack in and rack out, his situation there, it makes sense to me because you're changing the state of the power system. You're either racking it in or racking it out. Opening a door on a panel does not change the state of anything.
Yeah. And maybe what they're talking about too is, you know, if you have like a medium voltage breaker, if you rack a breaker out with the door closed, if something happens during that activity, the door is not going to provide you a barrier. So, okay, all right. I'm. You know what I have to do is, geez.
But where does that fall? I suppose it falls into, what is it? 130.5. You said. Estimate of likelihood and severity. So the likelihood of something happening is increased when you are doing something that readily changes the state of the equipment. That's what he's trying to make the point on.
So the challenge with the informational note is the interpretation, in my opinion, interpretation of what state of the equipment means. Examples are given as such as doors open or closed, and rack in or rack out. But we can't lose sight of the fact that table 130.5, let's see what table 130.5 Charlie, table 130.5C gives us the information around normal operation conditions not being an arc flash hazard. So we can't lose sight of that. And anything outside of those types of, like you say, racking in and out of a breaker, if you're racking it in and out of the stabs, poorly maintained breaker that you're going to open or closed, just having the doors closed does not mean that you do not have to suit up. So I think that's what Dilip is getting to.
Yep.
All right. I'm glad we worked that one through.
Well, that's what we've taught. We've taught that in safety training for a long time, right? You're gonna go up there and throw the switch, that's why nobody wants to go and hit the button on a 2,000 amp main.
Yeah. Now, if it's properly maintained and it's in good condition and all that good stuff,
I still don't want to go hit the button.
I still, you send an apprentice in to do that, right? Or you send your you send your brother-in-law and oh man.
Got any redheaded stepchilds laying around? Yeah, you go, Tommy, go in there. It's your job.
Oh man, that is too freaking funny. Okay.
Usually when I'm at somewhere, I ask people whose job it is if they need to shut down the main for the building when I'm doing training.
Yeah.
And almost to a man, everybody's like, it ain't me. I'm going out that door.
That's the truth.
Somebody, they ain't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So the title, okay, so I remember doing this one too. We changed the titles, equipment operating condition, but I'm glad we went back over this because, and I remember this. Equipment operating condition. This is just operating equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so title of column from equipment condition to operating condition. And then remember we talked about this because, and I remember talking about this, even though we're down to the end.
I missed your last session. It was a weekend, and I was just.
Yeah. I remember that. So this one is because here was the concern I had, because this is table 130.5C, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is changing from equipment condition to operating condition, and remember, and I think they changed normal. It's not, or it is abnormal and normal. So that stayed the chain. That's stayed the same. And the issue I had with this was, if you go back to normal, if you go back to 110.4 in the old book, energized work, there was a 110.4D, normal operating condition.
Yep.
Now that aligns with this table C, which was operating it was, oh wait, no. Oh, that's okay. No, it didn't. Okay. I see. So this was equipment condition. And whenever we teach it, we always say the equipment condition, whether the equipment is maintained, etc., right?
Yep.
But this change recognizes that 110.4D is really titled normal operating condition. So if the operating condition is normal, and what does the operating condition, a normal operating condition shall be permitted where a normal operating condition exists. A normal operating condition exists when all of the following conditions are satisfied. The equipment is properly installed. The equipment is properly maintained. The equipment is used in accordance with instructions included in the listing and labeling, and in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. So what they're saying here is, in this table C, which is your estimate of a likelihood of an occurrence of an arc flash event, that, and I'm going to scroll down to operation of a circuit breaker or switch contactor or starter. If it is in a normal operating condition, you go back and what you go back to the old 110.4, which has been reworked, right? So 110.4, if we recall, is no longer what it was. So it's now 110.2, electrically safe work condition. And what they did was they transferred this normal operating condition into an exception. So what they're saying is you don't have to operate a circuit breaker that is in normal operating condition. You don't have to establish an electrically safe work condition because the breaker and the equipment is properly installed, it's properly maintained, and the equipment is being used in accordance with the instructions. So if you're following all of those, you do not have to create or establish an electrically safe work condition. So that's what was the change, and it was in 110.2. Yeah, there it is. First level subdivision C. This section tells you when you're required to place equipment into an electrically safe work condition. 2 conditions are shown. There are 5 exceptions listed for 110.2C. And that's exception number 1. Exception number 1 is the 70. Understand that what a normal condition is. This is important for the proper application of 130.5C, which is used as the term normal. And exception number 1 was modified per the style manual. And then they added some. So that's what they changed. They made normal operating condition an exception to establishing an electrically safe work condition. I'm buying it now. I tell you what, though, you've got to really think about that one. Because that's
what that means, though, is if you have a breaker panel, for instance, that somebody drove into with a forklift, that is not normal operating condition.
Right.
So even though you have a dented inside panel, you're like, nah, that's not normal. So if I'm going to go operate and use that thing, I'm supposed to go to an upstream device and shut it off before I do anything.
Okay, I gotcha. I love this stuff. Don't you just love this?
You know, it's interesting that we talked last time I was on with you, that fault current, because they added that 7th item into that 130, the old 130.4. That fault current, that's going to catch a lot of people by surprise.
And where at?
Remember last 2 weeks ago, we talked about this, adding that 7th item to that 6-item list. There's a 6 items in there now. They're adding a 7th one that says that the equipment is rated for the available fault current. So there's so many places that have no idea what the fault current is.
Oh.
They have no idea how we'd even figure it out. Yep.
Okay.
Where are we at?
Okay, I just had to send Nihad a note. Okay. All right. So let me minimize that. I'm sure that'll ding me if he responds. So that was C. So they changed the title. They also changed the its first note A. Moved abnormal condition, yes. The informational notes 1, 4, 5 were modified to align with the style manual. So that's what they did with the informational notes. What about that note A? Okay, clarity was added. Modified note A to the table to point to the correct section. Exception. Which is the old 110.4D. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. And that's all I have to say about that. All right. And then that was C. Nothing changed in D or nothing. Okay, so D, documentation. And then E. Ooh, arc flash boundary. All right, let's see what they did there. 3. Right. Okay, so arc flash boundary. What did they change there? Control Enter.
You reworded it, looks like.
Oh, yeah, that was easy. Well, there's 1 and 2. So informational notes. Informational note was modified to align with the style manual. The other thing I'm doing too with this, Phil, is I've got to refrain from referencing NEC because I don't know the details about the trademark symbols and stuff. So instead of saying NEC, I'm saying the National Electrical Code Style Manual. I need to find someone who knows all of that stuff. Anyway, arc flash PPE. So F is arc flash PPE. All right, so let's go back to normal text. 3, arc flash PPE. So this is what tells you that you can use the incident energy method or the arc flash PPE category method and not both, and that did not change. Not at all. And then we have a G. This changed. Incident energy analysis method. I think I put a public input on this one too. All right, so they got a correlating revision. There's a global FR. What did they do? They added an informational note. Changes that could affect the results of incident energy analysis include changes made by utilities or other entities, such as transformer sizing, as well as modifications to protective devices. Okay, yep. And they reworded the informational notes to align with the style manual. They took the word leather out of... Okay, all right, before we get there. So now, this is G. This is the incident energy analysis method. So this is calculating energy. This isn't the table method. This is when you're calculating. So they added an informational note. Let's just make sure. 130.5 G. G, your hair smells terrific.
You can tell you're old, right? When was that on? When was that? That's an old ad right there, my friend.
Yes, and that was for some sort of shampoo.
Yeah.
Added and
it has a Head and Shoulders or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. Informational note stating that changes could impact incident energy calculated per this method. Any changes in the system that would change available fault current. That could be conductor lengths, transformers, transformer impedances,
breaker settings,
transformer. This is changing fault current. So transformer KVA, yeah. Utility available fault current, motors added or subtracted, right? So any changes in the system that would change available fault current could impact incident energy, making it worse or better, right? In addition, any changes to the clearing times, and examples of that are circuit breaker settings, fuses changed, circuit breakers changed. Those are about it. Clearing times could impact incident energy. Incident energy making it worse or better, right?
Do you know of any reference in 70E about changing fuses? If somebody puts in the mismatched fuses, that's something that we see out. I see that out in the field a fair amount, where maintenance guy blows fuses and they just put some other ones in there to try and get by, and they don't always have the same thing.
Actually, I think that would be a 70B item for maintenance.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look it up in there.
That might be in 70B, and I think we did speak. But there is here it is 110.11. Gosh, I tell you what, Phil, the Nfpa 70E gods are with me. 110.11 overcurrent protection of circuits and conductors shall not be modified, even on a temporary basis, beyond what is permitted by applicable portions of electrical codes and standards dealing with overcurrent protection. So the modified is like
there you go. That's exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to do a little bit of a leap, but modified, if you're putting in either a different like say a different fuse, or if you're changing the settings on a circuit breaker, you can't field adjust those settings and to do whatever. You can't modify that, even on a temporary basis. So and how I came across 110.11 was there were people out there in 24087, which is the arc reduction technologies. There were individuals, companies telling the contractors that all they need to do is turn the settings down on the breaker and turn them back up again. And that's a violation of 110.11. So
or it's just to willy-nilly do it.
Yes, because here's the problem. There's a bunch of different problems, but one of them, here's one. Every breaker, the dials control something different. So you might think you're changing, say, instantaneous, and you're changing long time pickup, or vice versa. And when you roll the dial down, what happens if you didn't record what the dial was when you started rolling it down? Right? That's what happens to me. You know, it's like you start making a change and you go, oh crap, how do I get it back to where I was? There's no little arrow going back on the breakers that says undo, right? You can't do a Control Z. So
that's another thing when I do training, I ask people, so when you guys are changing fuses, I'm sure if I went out in your plant, you'd always find the same exact fuses in those fuse holders that the system was designed with, right? And you end up with a bunch of maintenance guys kind of like, oh man, yeah, don't call on me because I don't want to have to lie to you.
Yeah. I'm putting the wrong, hold on. I have the wrong file up. Where's it at? Hold on.
You're still writing on the.
Yeah, well, I'm sharing out. See what I screwed up. I moved this. Let me put it back.
Oh, you have something different going on to broadcast somewhere else.
Yeah. So, oh man, I'm gonna close some things here. Close. I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna close that. I didn't close you down. Okay, I'm gonna. Jiminy crickets! I hate when I do this. Okay, hold on. I'm going to actually close my Word document and I'm going to open it back up again. There we go. All right, so now I'm back. I'm back in business. Now everybody out there was looking at just a blank screen and they were probably going, "What is he talking about?"
I didn't notice. I've got the Word document open. I occasionally click on your icon to see where you're at. So
yeah, okay. So let's go back now. Where were we? We were on 130.5 C, D, E, F, G. So we're at the there you go. We're at the instant energy analysis method. Could impact the instrument, make it better. Okay, so all right. Sorry about that, people in YouTube land, Facebook land, LinkedIn land, Twitter land. All right. They did get to see what I just bought, and they just delivered it today. I got my Netgear in. I also got this little USB thing. Uh-oh, David Engelhardt. Should we admit him? Let's not admit David Engelhardt.
hey, David.
I ordered a new MacBook Pro computer, and I won't get it in until March 30th sometime, but it's going to be a screaming laptop. That's for sure. They did send me the mouse. I got the mouse first. What do you think, David?
Well, I just stopped by real quick. I'm between activities right now, and just to stop by to thank you for the invite.
Oh, excellent. No, I'm glad you could stop by.
I'm not here. If let's see, who's that guy from Wisconsin again? Steve Froming.
Yeah.
If he was here, I was going to tell Steve, me and Bill Pancake are going to go to our IAEI local division IAEI meeting tomorrow. We're riding together.
Excellent. Excellent.
But I see Steve's not here, so I thought I'd.
Yeah.
So.
He was. He's got a class going on, and he said he's going to dial back in again, and he's thinking of bringing the entire class in, so we can listen and work together. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Knights of Columbus meeting that I got after at 6:30, so I got to run.
Oh, all right.
So,
well,
okay.
All righty, sir.
David, how far from Sarasota are you? You're close, right?
Sarasota is within my division.
Right on. I'm gonna be in Sarasota next month.
It's like hour and a half north of here.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, Venice, and then Sarasota. Venice is in Sarasota County. Actually, yeah, we meet Northport.
Okay.
At the
if I get my act together, I'll try and track you down while I'm down there. Maybe I could have a cup of coffee with you. It'd be awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
let me see. Just wondering. I don't know. Well, I work for Collier County, so get into the building review department. You can get my phone number and email and whatnot. We can chit chat. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
Bye, bud. We'll talk to you guys.
Hey, thanks, David. Take care. Bye. I'm glad he jumped in. So here's the other thing. There's a subtle change in what's the table? Oof. Hold on, I gotta close this.
130.5G.
Is it 130.5G? 130.5G is, oh yeah, so, okay, so remember, whenever you calculate incident energy, the next step is now I need to determine my personal protective equipment. And I can't use the table in 130.7 Charlie 15C that has the arc flash PPE categories 1, 2, 3, and 4, because that's only when you're using the PPE method, right? PPE category method. If you're calculating incident energy to determine your PPE, you need to use table 130.5G. Now,
what if there's a place that has both?
Oh, you're not supposed to mix and match.
No, not on the same piece of equipment.
Oh, okay.
In the same building.
Oh my God. Well, you need to. So they need to. So I'll tell you what. The only difference that I can find is in table 130.7 Charlie 15C, arc flash PPE category 1 does not require a balaclava.
Yep.
And remember, arc flash PP category 1 goes to 4 calories. If I had 2 calories calculated, I would be in table 130.5G and I would need a balaclava.
Right.
But I could wear a PP category, I could wear an arc rating of clothing of 4 and not have to have a balaclava if I'm using the table method.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference that I see between the two. Now, we're on 130.5, so we haven't gone to 130.7, but this was a global public input from the technical committee on EEWAAA. Electrical, okay. And it says change leather protectors to protectors. And it says ASTM F2675 no longer exempts ARC rating D120 or F696 gloves, and recent research indicates that many 696 protectors on the market contain a flammable melting cuff. Ooh.
What the heck is it? F69? I'd do a little Google here. F696 glove. 696.
Okay, so they removed it from where? They removed it from the table because what it said was rubber. Let's look at the language. Hold on. They removed in the table where it says heavy duty leather gloves. That's fine. Arc rated gloves or rubber insulated gloves with leather protectors. They remove the word leather, so they say or rubber insulating gloves with protectors.
Oh, you know what? The normal class 00 and class 0 gloves do not have a, they've got just a leather protector, but the class 2 ones have a plastic and it's orange. It's the orange, Wade, the long cuff right here.
Okay.
It's orange and it's not, I don't have, mine are in for testing right now. Otherwise I'd show them to you, but I wonder if that's what they're talking about. I bet they are.
Yeah, that could be. Hey, we got Robert from Omaha. He's doing 70E tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. I don't do anything at 7:30 a.m. I eat my breakfast at 7:30 a.m. That's the key thing.
Yeah. I can post this in the chat. I don't think you can I put pictures in the chat? I don't know if I can or not. Can I?
I don't know.
Put pictures in the chat.
But I'm going to put your picture down here in the corner with us because I can. There we go. Now I got you in the corner on the YouTube channel. So at least it's not just me up there. All right. So gauntlet is above the cuff. Gauntlet is above the cuff. That's what Robert is saying. So leather protectors. So let me go back to this now. Where they removed leather protectors, and the reason was no longer exempts arc rating for gloves, and recent research indicates that many 696 protectors on the market contain a flammable melting cuff. So leather, man, so it just says protectors. Oh, wait, hold on. There's a new definition in Article 100 for protector. Okay. A new definition in Article 100 helps us understand what a protector is. And we could call it the guardian of the universe. So let's not do that, right? Let's go to protectors. Where's protectors? Element, there it is. Look at this. OMG. Whoop.
Yeah.
So, the new definition in Article 100 tells us that a protector is a leather or non-leather glove. I hate when they say leather or non-leather. So it's just a glove.
What about if it's a combination leather and non-leather? Then it doesn't apply. So those ones I'm talking about must not be protectors.
Yeah, I don't get it. And there's Steve Froming. So it says, is a leather or non-leather glove or mitten designed to be worn over rubber insulating gloves. The intent of these, not the internet, the intent of these protectors is to protect the rubber insulation. Uh-oh. You're kind of noisy over there, Steve. There you go. So the intent of the protectors is to protect the rubber insulation, the rubber insulating gloves, right? As they provide, what do you call that? They provide shock protection. So the rubber is there for shock. The leather over the rubber is there to protect so that you don't puncture holes, etc., in those rubber. And that's why they tell you to always test those rubber gloves, make sure that you don't have any holes or anything like that. And they do the air test on them. They put them on those cones or whatever. So, yep. And then the leather is there to provide that protection.
No, the protector is. You got to change the language.
That's right. Well, so it says, yeah, and it says, what they should say, I think, in my opinion, I would say leather or non-leather glove. I think public comment. I think this is deserving of a public comment. It should say a glove or mitten constructed, just a glove or mitten designed to be worn over rubber insulating gloves, period. Because it's just a glove or a mitten designed to be worn over rubber insulating gloves, period. You don't even have to mention leather or non-leather. You don't need that. It's a glove.
Yeah.
Now, theoretically,
it should be an arc flash rated. I'm surprised there's nothing in there about the arc flash energy rating of it.
Well, is there an arc flash rating of a glove?
Is there does the rubber glove have enough of an arc flash rating that the other thing?
I don't know I don't know, do gloves. I'm not a big glove.
I think that's a big gap.
That's look, this says ASTM F2675. It says arc flash, it says glove testing, or put over here so I'm not. So glove testing to ASTM 2675 standard test method for determining arc ratings of hand protective products developed and used for electrical arc flash protection is performed to determine the arc rating, ATPV or EBT, of a glove. So really, to your point, the definition should work into it the fact that it has to be listed, maybe, or have an arc rating.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I think the whole arc rating of those voltage rated gloves is there's a gap there in electrical safety that the glove people haven't really come up to solidly put an arc flash rating on their voltage rated gloves, but they're just understood to be okay. That's my interpretation. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's where I'm at.
You know who I always call? Scott Margolin. He is a very sharp dude when it comes to personal protective equipment. So I'm going to probably try to reach out to him on that one. All right.
Did you know that Nfpa 70E allows the use of a voltage rated glove as protection from electrical shock without the protector on it?
Wait, say that again?
That you're allowed to use a a rubber glove to protect yourself from a shock hazard you can use it without the leather protector. It's specifically stated in 70E, but you can only use it once, and you have to send it in for testing after you used it.
Oh, I don't know.
If you look at the arc flash PPE part of it, you have to wear the protector with it for arc flash. But I don't know that I'm going to grab my gloves. Hang on.
Yeah. So there's the title of ASTM, standard Control U.
Yeah, all it says is it's a 10-inch rubber glove protector on the leather.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I've always thought that is kind of weird.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Gustavo, greetings. You better get up to date there, brother. We missed you. I like seeing your name over there. All right, so we have a new definition, and you know what we need to do is come up to Article 100. See, this is why in Article 100, I'm going to put protector, new definition, new definition to define what a protector is in regard to the glove or mitten that is worn over rubber insulating gloves. And here's the thing. So what I do with this is because of change. Oh, I gotta move this. Because Control X. I'm designing this such that you have to have a copy of 70E in front of you. This is not designed to replace 70E, so I'm not putting the language in. I'm simply saying what the definition tells us and why it's there. So, okay, so let's go back down now. We were in 130.5. Was it G? Yeah. So F 2675 no longer exempts arc rating, and recent research indicates that many. Okay, so all right, got a new definition, and I think we need to fix that. So that looks good. All right, and this is how we do 130.5. We're in the ARC Flash Risk Assessment. Oh, okay. Was that the cat? What's his name or her name?
Marley.
Marley.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so that's the incident energy analysis method. We got changes. We got a new informational note just reminding us that changes can increase or decrease. We have modifications to the informational notes. We're removing leather from the protectors, and we're just saying protectors. We have a new definition of protectors. And they removed where it says rubber insulating gloves with leather protectors provide arc flash protection. They're removing the word leather. So, and those are the notes to table 130.5G. So I will put that. In addition, the notes to table 130.5G are removing the word leather when referring to protectors for rubber insulating gloves.
You know, it's kind of interesting. You look at all of the, wonder why don't they have arc rated safety glasses or safety goggles? If you have to have a balaclava on, and that provides arc rating for stuff that's up inside of your face area, why can we wear non-arc rated safety glasses?
No, oh, you mean glasses. I know the face shield has to be arc rated.
Yep. You look through all of that table 130.5G, everything's arc rated this, arc rated that, arc rated this, arc rated that, till you get the safety glasses. Hard hat as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It just says safety glasses.
I wonder why.
Well, they figure it'll melt around your face, not
they don't drip off.
Yeah, and they don't say anything about wearing contacts.
Oh, right.
You know, should you wear contacts? You know.
Oh, because those are plastic too, right?
Yeah, some of them are glass, but still, I wouldn't want contacts in my eyes. I don't know.
Oh.
H, equipment labeling.
Okay.
What did they do? Ooh, big change here. It has to be durable. Duh.
I could have sworn that was already in there.
I would have thought so too, because hold on, let's take a look. 130. Is this 130.5H, right? Equipment labeling. I could have swore it was in there too. Exception number 1. No. The method of calculating. So no. So they added a requirement.
They had tag out label. The tag out was if you had to use a tag or a tag out. That was dealing with environment. Yeah.
To withstand the environment. Well, you know, in the National Electrical Code, we have 110.24. I can't remember the section. It says about durability and whatnot, but they don't have apparently an equivalent for this. Oh, well. All right, so that's H. So that means that takes us to the end of 130.5. Okay, now 130.7, personal and other protective equipment. 130.7, personal and other protective.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. What do you see?
I see something here. Oh man, this is going to change. Yeah, in the general section.
Well, A is general. B is care of equipment. General didn't change. Care of equipment changed. C is personal protective equipment, PPE. All right, so let's take a look at these three. All right, so A, general. No changes in A. B, care of equipment. The only change is
general.
Yeah.
What is the informational note in general? C. Oh, C. Okay, I was on C1 general. Sorry.
Oh, I gotcha. So the only thing that that changed in B, care of equipment, was a style manual concern with what do you call it? The informational, style manual. So now C, personal protective equipment. 1 is general. Now we're getting to, we see some changes with what you were saying, heading 4. All right, so what do we got here, and why did heading 4 move me in? Okay, what did they change here?
What is it? Well, it's for.
Okay, it says use of let me.
You got to read the informational note first before you get into that number 1. It'll make more sense.
Oh, okay. So the informational note changed, not the parent text. And the informational note says where the estimated incident energy exposure is greater than the arc rating of commercially available arc rated PPE, then for the purpose of testing for the absence of voltage, the following examples of risk reduction methods could be used to reduce the likelihood of occurrence of an arcing event or the severity of exposure. 1, it used to say use non-contact test instruments and in the equipment. So what it now says is use of non-contact capacitive test instruments or a permanently installed metering device in the equipment for indication before using a contact type test instrument to test for the absence of voltage. And they remove the below 1,000 volts. And what this has to do with, and I remember this discussion at the committee, the previous example, the previous example of a risk reduction method in item 1 in this note.
You're talking about these things.
No, you know what? That's similar. I agree. That's a capacitive thing, but we got bells. What this one was talking about is, it does say use of non-contact capacitive test instruments or a permanently installed metering device.
Hey, Tom?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to try to bring my class in for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, sure.
If you don't mind, and then you can tell, when I say something, you can say a little bit about your thing and maybe drive them to your YouTube page.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see how this works. Just go ahead and continue on.
All right. We'll do. All right, so this is the previous example of a risk reduction method in lesson item 1 of this informational note lacked clarity and may have created confusion. The first revision deletes the reference to the secondary side of a low voltage transformer mounted on their equipment because the text was confusing. The intent of this risk reduction example is for the employee to get an indication of the absence of voltage before coming in contact with a contact type test instrument. The term proximity is deleted and the reference to the non-contact test instrument is correctly stated as a non-contact capacitive test instrument. As seen in 120.57. So what's 120.57? 120, and I know it's going to happen. 120.5, because they probably renumbered. Yeah, they did. 120.57. I'm going to have to here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this.
Absence of voltage tester is what they're talking about.
Okay. What section is this in? This is in 130.7 Charlie 1. All right, there we go. Undo. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a Control X and a Control V. All right, and I'll make this normal. So, and I'm going to close this. So it says, personal C1, the previous example, 120.5. So I'm just going to go up to 120.5. I want to have the title, Lockout Tagout Procedures, and 120.57. There is no 120.57.
Yeah, there is.
There's a 120.5A and a B.
120.5, 1, 2, no. 2.
Hey, Tom.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you are now logged in live with my electrical vehicle training class.
I don't know how you do this stuff, Steve.
So I'm going to ask the guys in my class, can you hear me and Tom? Wave if you can hear me. Oh, that's not good.
They can't hear you.
That's not, well, they can see you though. Wave, hey guys, wave if you can hear me. Maybe there's a delay. Hey guys, wave if you can hear me. All right. Can you hear Tom talking too? Could you
I'm
also
talking.
hear him?
I'm talking. Anybody hear me out there?
All right, they're giving the thumbs up.
Sweet. I'll tell you what.
So this is Tom Dmitrovich going through, and Phil, they're going through 70E, and this is how things get done in the code.
This is how we do.
This is how it's done.
Absolutely. So we're going over 70E right now, safe work practices. And 70E is in the first draft phase. So they've completed the first draft, and it's not posted yet. But as a committee member, I can have access to see what they are. And I'm a committee member on the National Electrical Code, not on 70E. So we're going down through all the changes, and we're creating a change document that we're going to have publicly available, which is kind of cool. So, and we're doing it in a social experience. And so remember, and Steve will hopefully share this with you guys and gals to go out and check. I've got a YouTube site. You can go to thomasdimitrovich.com, and if you want to join in on events like this with Google Meet, go out to thomasdimitrovich.com and sign up. And it's all free, and I just want to know who you are, and I want to make sure that I invite the right guys. You know, every now and then you get a Steve Froming who just accidentally gets into the meeting, you know. So, but yeah, so we want to make sure that that if we're in a Google Meet, that we know who you are. But in any case, yeah. So I do a live on YouTube. I have live on my Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I've got, I think, 3 different Facebook sites I stream to. So we're live right now on all 8 or 7 of those platforms. So, and we got some people out there on YouTube, and we were just trying to find a section in this reference where it says the committee wrote a statement that says the term proximity is deleted and the reference to a non-contact test instrument is correctly stated as non-contact capacitive test instrument as seen in 120.57, and there is no 120.57. It's not in the new version. There is. It's in the old version.
And that's how the code is done. It's
Absolutely.
here, it's there, but some people think they know where it is, but it doesn't get communicated.
No, and we're in mid. And the thing is with this, Steve, is we're in mid cycle. So when they're making a change, they're referencing 120.57, but the committee reworked 120.5, and it's no longer what it used to be. So they reorganized a lot of what we see in 70E in the document. So your class, Steve, what year are they in?
Well, we got a lot of journeymen and whatnot that are with the Milwaukee JTC.
Okay.
We got some residential wiremen. We got a little bit of everybody in this particular class, and we're going to go over electrical vehicle installations from the whole get-go, not just the code thing. We go through the whole history of EVs. And
Wow.
It's a very comprehensive course, and they get a certificate if they pass the exam once the course is done. 6 3-hour classes.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So this is night 2.
Night 2. And
we're trying to be on the forefront of this industry here in Wisconsin. So.
Absolutely. And always remember 70E, if you're a residential wireman, if you pull maintenance in a residential home, if that is your place of business, if that's where you work, 70E applies to you. And you may not have an arc flash event in a residential home unless you live in Steve Froming's house where he's got 480 volt service and all that jazz, 1500 kVA transformer outside. But you have shock hazards, and we have to think not only about the electrical worker, but we got to think about the plumbers who's on site, the HVAC guy who's on site, everybody else who will be working in and around our electricity. And remember, the purpose of 70E is to provide a practical, safe working area for employees relative to the hazards arising from the use of electricity. So this document applies to all of us, especially anytime we go to work. So 70E is a critical document. You're working on an electric vehicle, 70E applies. You're doing charging equipment, you're doing photovoltaics, 70E it has to be in the fabric of our being to reduce shock, go home safely without an arc flash event or a shock event. We all got families, so, and I'm glad you guys tuned into this. This is pretty cool.
Well said. So we're going to get back into our class, and
All right.
I'll give them the link to your YouTube.
Please.
And there's a lot of good education out there that Tom's got. And
Yep.
See you later, Tom. Phil, see you later. I'm going to drop off.
All right, guys.
See you guys later.
Take care.
Yeah,
Thanks for
take
stopping
care,
in.
guys. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Cool beans. That's cool. Steve's a good guy, man. Jeez, oh man, working hard on a Tuesday night. It's Tech Tuesday. All right, so it's 120.57 of the 2021. Yeah.
Yep.
Of NFPA 70E 2021. Okay, previous example of risk is the informational node, lack clarity. Okay, and I'll reword this, but the intent of the risk reduction, the term proximity is deleted, and the reference to non-contact test term is correctly stated as non-contact capacitive, as seen in 120.57 of NFPA 70E. Now, where is the new one? So 120.5. 120.5. Where's it at? 120.5. Okay, 120 is process for establishing. They moved that to 120.6. 120.6.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah, because there is no 120.6 in the 2021 version.
Yep. 2024 version of 70E is 120.6, paren 7, as it was moved. Okay. And the limitation below 1,000 volts was deleted, as this risk reduction method is not voltage specific. So they have proximity, and I remember this discussion. They have these non-contact capacitive test instruments for medium voltage applications as well. And so this is an effective way, because remember, this is a good example of this is a medium voltage yard, right? Or service entrance equipment where your incident energy is so high. Why is it high at the service entrance? Because your clearing time is based upon the primary overcurrent device.
Yep.
Right, which is that fuse on the utility side. So the energy at service entrance equipment can be very high, and there's no PPE rated for it. So they're giving you methods to say, look, you don't have PPE, but here are all the steps you can do to reduce likelihood and severity.
So what do you do when you teach a class and you have these small ones like this guy, this small capacitive thing?
Well, so let me tell you, I was, you're going to love this. I was at a IAEI event, and they were, you know how they give away stuff. I don't know if you've been to those where they pull your name. Oh yeah, they pull your name, and they have all of these gifts up there. They're basically donated stuff like that. And
you go pick one. And
you just go pick one. They call your name. So every meeting does it a little differently. Some give out money. So, but in any case, so I get a notification, and I get the, hey, Tom Demetrius. So I go up, and it was one of those. I don't know if it was Klein or whoever it was. And I was sitting with Jim Dollard, Local 98, IBW, and he's on 70E. And I brought that back, and I'm like, this is cool. And he grabs it out of my hand, and he says, you're not qualified to use this. And I started laughing. And he goes, I'm not going to give it back to you. He says, and he asked me a question, and I answered it wrong, because I did not know that when you use that, if you are insulated, if you're not grounded, that can give you false positives. You have to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you read the instructions on those proximity sensors, there are specific about I think it's, you have to be grounded. I can't exactly remember.
Who wants to do electrical work when they're grounded?
Yeah, I know, but you're supposed to, there's a proper way to use that equipment. And I'll tell you what, I haven't used it recently, but I keep the instructions for it, because it's worth reading the instructions on that equipment. I mean, I know I'm just like all the other guys out there. We just throw that stuff away, but
yeah. Well, what I did, I've got 2 of these in my training kit, and I leave them in the package. And I tell my students that the only reason I leave them in the package is because I don't want you using them. You're not going to hang your life on these things.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
If I take them out of the package, I break them over my knee, then I have them. They're kind of in parts in my toolbox, and then they don't work.
Yeah.
I always get some chuckles, but I always get somebody who will argue with me, and I go back to this 130.5 or 120.57 and say, you cannot test. They want to create a safe work condition with this thing, and you can't do it.
Yeah, no.
Not if you're going to meet the code.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That can be, you know what I call that? A layer of the onion, because you can, visible blades is a layer of the onion. Those proximity sensors, layers of the onions, and then you just keep peeling those layers away. And the more layers you put, the less the likelihood is that you're going to have a problem. So it's just like anything. So but that's I learned that day. That was funny.
Yeah, I had a guy argue with me last Thursday. I was doing training in Michigan, and I had a guy argue, and I finally told him, I says, hey, listen, you and I aren't going to agree on this, and you're wrong.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the class said, hey, you know what? If you want to punch him in the face, we'll tell everybody else that he tripped.
Oh man, that's bad. Jeez. Where'd you get hurt in a safety class? Nick. Okay, so and Chin head area. These did not change, but I'm just going to put these in. Eye protection did not change. And 5. And Robert, I didn't see. I forgot to tell Steve. You said hello. I didn't see it until after he left. Sorry about that, brother. Hearing protection. And 6 is body protection. So I'm just going to make these all, I think, heading 4s. Yep. How to move them back. Okay, boom. Oh, Y, there it is. Why it does that?
Those are, yeah, we got to be careful with those ones. Make sure there's still, those comments that you have in there are still part of the informational note though, right? Because they're interesting. They apply when it's high energy level where there's no PPE available for things. And people may start to look at that and go, well, this thing here is going to do it for me, you know?
Yeah, no, yep, absolutely right. Okay, so what changed is hearing protection. What changed in here? Employees inside the arc flash boundary shall wear hearing protection. It used to say employees shall wear hearing protection whenever working within the arc. Subtle change. They removed the word working. Working is removed. So and the sentence is restructured. Restructured for clarity. An electrical, it says an employee doesn't, the mere presence, basically, the mere presence of an employee in the arc flash boundary, requires the employee to wear hearing protection.
I wonder why they used employee instead of workers, because somebody could look at that and say, well, I'm not your employee. I'm a contract person here. That's interesting.
You know what? When working. So I've heard that discussion before, and they'll say if you're a contractor, you're still an employee. You are an employee as long as somebody is paying you. You're an employee. Okay. If you're not getting paid, if you're a guest, right now you could make the argument. What if I'm a guest?
Oh, that's actually a better argument. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm in the arc flash boundary. So now, what's the definition? There's a definition of employees, I think.
Right,
is there? No, there's no definition of employee. No, that's I'm going to make a note. The mere presence of the word of an employee, and I'm going to say, what about a guest?
What about my grandpa who came to work? He's not getting paid.
Yeah.
Worker.
My dad came. So this was bring your dad to work day, and I wanted to show him what I was doing. So I brought him into the arc flash boundary, put all this crap on him with regard to PPE, but I forgot to put the hearing protection on him. Because I mean, it says in the arc flash boundary, so there's a you know what? Okay, let's talk about that for a second. You're in the arc flash boundary, and let's go to 130. I'm sorry, 110. No, 130.6. Is it 130.5? Or is it one? Hold on. 130.5G. Okay, so I do a calculation. I'm in 130.5G, and it tells me what I need to wear. It says arc rated clothing with arc rating equal to or greater than the estimated incident energy, arc rating long sleeve shirts and pants, coveralls, face shield, balaclava, outer is like rainwear as needed, leather gloves, protectors, hard hat, safety glasses, hearing protection. So, I'm probably in, no, I'm in 130.7. Oh, but this is 130.7. This is 130.7. So this is different. Right. So let's take a look at the PPE methods. So 130. Okay. So what table 130.7 Charlie 15C. This is the PPE you need to wear whenever you're using the PPE category method, right? I don't need to wear for a PPE category 1. It doesn't say, oh, it does say hearing protection. PPE category 2, hearing protection. So I'm just going to put a question on this one altogether. Why do I need this when table 130.7 Charlie 15
already requires it.
Yeah, already requires hearing protection when in the arc flash boundary.
Well, that would be the same thing for all the rest of 130.7C.
So let's go back. What does 130.7? I'm in 130.7. Yeah, C. 130.7C, which is the table, right? So
no. C 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 is foot protection. 9 is factor selecting protective clothing. Arc flash protective equipment. That's so weird. What is the difference between arc flash protective equipment and?
See, I can understand the general requirements for PPE that just basically says if you are within the restricted approach boundary, you have to wear PPE in accordance with 130.4. It says if you're working within the arc flash boundary, you have to wear protective clothing and in accordance with 130.5. And then all parts of the body inside the arc flash boundary shall be protected. And then 2 is movement and visibility. I get that. That's not covered anywhere else. Movement and visibility is not covered. Head, face, neck, and chin protection. Employees shall wear non-conductive head protection wherever there is a danger of head injury from electric shock or burns due to contact with energized. So that is not when you're in the arc flash boundary. This is just in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eye protection says shall wear protective equipment for the eyes whenever there is danger of injury from electrical arcs, flashes, or flying objects. So that's general. And it says hearing is employees shall wear hearing protection whenever working within the arc flash boundary. So 5 is not appropriate because 5 is already covered in either 130 in 130.7 Charlie 15C. That's where you're determining your PPE. Now, if they said you need to have hearing protection anytime there are loud and working in areas with loud noises, etc., where it's
if you're trying to get rid of number 5, you got to get rid of number 6 too. Then I think you got the cart before the horse a little bit.
Oh, I think you got to do both of those. Yeah. So you got to get rid of B because employees shall wear arc-rated clothing wherever there is possible exposure to an electric arc flash above the threshold incident energy level for a second-degree burn, 1.2 calories. Well, that's different, though. That's different. Hold on. That's different because that's outside of the table because the table says 4 calories, no more than 4 calories. But what 130.56 Charlie 6 tells you is the threshold's 1.2. If you're below 1.2 calories, you do not need to wear arc-rated clothing. So that's outside of that table.
130.7 is personal and other protective equipment. It's regular. It gets to a point, and then all of a sudden it turns into like number 10, they've got a whole bunch of, they go arc flash, arc flash, arc flash, and then they got to 130.7C10, then it's arc flash protect. The whole way they've got that all together, the first part of it is the first part shock protection, or is the first part like 130.5A or 30.7A?
A? Or you mean 130.7C7A is shock protection, right? So shock is you have to wear your rubber insulated gloves with leather protectors. Or actually, that should say protectors. Did they pick that up? 130.7, where am I at? We're on, okay, we haven't gotten to 7 yet. Yeah, they got rid of leather there too. Okay, so they got rid of leather there too. So that's your shock protection. Then you have your arc flash protection, and that's what points you to 130.7 Charlie 10D.
Where does arc flash protection start, and where does shock protection end?
Shock protection is A. Arc flash protection is B.
Hang on.
In hand and arm.
In 130 dot what?
130.7 Charlie 7.
Oh,
and
that's the old one is they're fixing the old one, because the old one, it's all mishmashed together. That's where, did they move that stuff around?
no, I'm looking in the old book. I'm looking in the 2021 book. So it says hand, and we're under hand and arm protection. It's 7. So we did hearing protection. There was nothing in body protection, and now we have 7, which is hand and arm protection, right? And so hand and arm protection. Oh, why it keeps, you know what I'm gonna do? Watch this. Update heading 4 to match. There we go. So hand and arm protection, they removed leather and just use protectors. I'm going to go up and I'm going to grab that text, Control C.
I've got a question on 130.7C3, the head, face, neck, and chin area protection. When you're done there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If the last sentence in that paragraph, if employees use hairnets or beard nets or both these items shall be arc rated. Does that mean if anybody's working in a food processing plant where they have to wear a hairnet and a beard net, regardless of if they're in a shock hazard area or arc flash hazard area, they have to wear arc rated beard nets and hairnets?
Okay, wait, hold on. So it says employees shall wear non-conductive head protective whether there is danger of head injury from electric shock or burns due to contact with energized electrical conductors. Employees shall wear non-conductive protective equipment for the face, neck, and wherever there's a danger of injury from exposure to electric arcs or flashes from flying objects. If employees use hairnets, yeah. It doesn't limit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that doesn't look like it's changing, but that's an area of. I think that was in the. I'm gonna look in the 2018 130.7.
The last sentence, which unfortunately, that's the public. You'd have to get to somebody on the panel to have them put some language in so that in the public comment phase, it's not new material.
That was in the 2018 version too, but it's interesting how it's there and it's not in the ARC. This is just general PPE. This to me, I read this and I'm like, this, if you're wearing a hairnet and a beard net, I don't care what you're doing. If you're doing electrical, you need arc flash rated stuff. It's been there for a while. It's a little sneaky one though.
It is sneaky. So, and what the concern is, it doesn't say only when you are in the arc flash boundary.
Right.
And quite frankly, if you're in the arc flash boundary, you should lose that stuff anyway.
I know.
I'm not. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So okay. So let's finish up hand, and then we're gonna close up shop.
Yeah, I got both.
Yeah, hand and arm leather protectors are being changed to protectors, and because of that, so that's what's changing there. Ooh, distance between protector cuff and rubber insulating glove cuff minimum.
Ooh, that has been something.
They got rid of the word gauntlet. So the title of the last column in table 130.7 Charlie 7A has been changed from distances between gauntlet and cuff minimum to distances between protector cuff and rubber insulating glove cuff minimum. I like that so much better because now you know you know exactly what they're talking about. The distance between the protector cuff and the rubber insulating glove cuff. I guess you would say the edge of those. So, and it tells you that is how much more. Is that how much more rubber you need to have?
Yeah, the rubber's got to, and this, somebody explained it to me one time, but I can't remember exactly the reasoning. But yeah, the rubber has to extend beyond the
leather. Yeah. And this tells you how many inches or millimeters.
And it has to do with, I think it has something to do with something jumping across the leather or something. I'm not sure. Yeah,
that could be. You have your exposed hand at that point, or your arm. Yeah. Well, that's an interesting. And they give you different inches based upon 00, 0, and 1 through 4. So a 4 is 4 inches, 3 is 3 inches, 2 is 2. Oh gosh, 2 is 2 inches, 1 is 1 inch, a 0 is 0.5 inches, and the 00 is 0.5 inches. So the smallest amount of rubber insulating glove sticking out below sticking out of the leather protector is 1/2 inch. The most is 4 inches. Right. And a class 4 glove goes from the maximum AC use voltage is 36,000 volts.
Yeah, it's minimum of 4 inches.
That's a minimum. Yeah.
Because these are 11-inch gloves. You can get class 00 14-inch gloves too.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Grasshopper. Okay, and then there's some more changes in there. So I think that what we should do now is cut bait and run. Because we got a lot done today. I feel pretty good. And what's good is this is a 2024 document, Phil. So we're ahead of the game. And once we go through and highlight all of this stuff and get it in the ballpark, I think what I'll do is go back through it again, try to elaborate, maybe add some pictures, like a picture of a glove to show the different distances. That'd be a great photo. And just help people understand it. And then everywhere where I see I've made comments, anywhere where we say, I bet you we need a public comment, then we might be able to make public comments for the next cycle or for the next phase of this cycle.
It's interesting. We could put the Army together, right?
Yeah.
Because if there's a whole bunch of comments that come from a bunch of different directions instead of just Tom Dimitrich, not to say that your opinion doesn't matter.
No, you're absolutely right.
The more people that interact with that, it's like interacting with government.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And here's the thing: if someone else is or multiple people are putting in similar public inputs or comments, especially if you're an electrical worker. I mean, if the electrical worker says, "Hey, this is confusing for me," that it carries more weight than me putting it in because I'm a manufacturer. But yeah, no, this is going to work out good. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
I'm really excited about this conversation that you started, Tom, because what it does is it gets you thinking about the future.
Yeah.
And this stuff is coming. And I was teaching a class last week, and I told these guys, if you don't understand how fault current works today, you better start working on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you don't know how to calculate fault current, you better figure it out. You got about 1.5 years, because the safety standard is going to change everything on that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Buddies of mine that they really struggle with that, and I did too myself. But you helped me with that.
Well, I appreciate it. That's cool.
You helped me out with a ton, and Ryan Jackson did too, with just the functional understanding of how things work. So
yeah, that's cool. Excellent.
I've got kind of a to-do sheet. I've got a job aid I'm going to create with. I introduced you and Ryan to my classes last week.
Oh, cool.
I told them that you guys were my YouTube heroes.
That's cool beans. That's cool beans.
I'm going to put a job aid together with your link on it, and it's part of my pack. And I'm going to give people, hey, if you want to learn about this stuff, here's where you can go to some reliable information. I think it's just important because people don't know these. It's
yeah. And I'm starting to put. I'm learning how to do an LMS. I'm going to make some just like you can go up and take some short courses, just refresh your memory on things, and take some quizzes and stuff like that and see how you do. But I was learning. I was over the weekend, and I sit upstairs and I watch and I play with it, So I have a WordPress on my website. So there's plugins that you can use that basically lets you do a learning management system. You can create a class, put quizzes, and they get grades, and you can give just a little like a finishing email certificate that says, hey, you completed this, this. And we used to do, we do these all the time. We do lunch and learns and stuff like that. But so I'm playing with that now too. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a Facebook page that I pay attention to. It's called Shitty Electrical Work, right? And so people post all this stuff on there. And you get all these guys that are just saying, oh, yeah, no big deal to get shocked, and no big deal about this, and no big deal about that. And I'm like, and then one of the things they're complaining about was the National Electric Code is written by manufacturers. I'm like, you guys are out of your mind. And go find something to complain about. So I kind of challenged them. I says, you want to make a comment? Now's the time it's open for public comment now. Get off your chair on a Friday night, quit screwing around with Facebook, and go do something.
There you go. Be a man of action. There you go. Be a man of action. I like it. Yeah. Robert from Omaha, I appreciate you dialing in, brother. And you are the man. He's got a 70. We had not R. Kelly on. We had a few people jump on. I did this was Gustavo Chavez was on. It was a last minute stitch, so I doubt we had a lot of people watching, but it is what it is, and it was what it was, and it shall be what it shall be. All right.
If the record button was on, I can't take back anything I said.
That's exactly right. Oh, it's recorded, buddy. Everything's captured. Oh yeah. Your fate was sealed the moment you dialed in.
Oh boy. I enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you.
I did too. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate you dialing in, brother.
Yep. Good night.
Good night. Take care. All right. Well, that was a good one. That was a good session. I enjoyed that immensely. Larry. Oh, no, not Larry Griffith. I scrolled up too far. He was from the earlier. Robert, thanks for dialing in. We had Steve Froming on. We got through pretty good on 70E. There's a lot of important changes, but I don't think that I think we've got some opportunities to make some public comments too. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Stay safe. Thanks for what you do for the electrical industry. Thanks for what you do for electrical safety. Thanks for tuning in. And remember to stay safe, and please stay healthy. I will see all of you, I don't know, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. I think I should do a Q&A Friday. I don't know. We'll try. All right. Stay tuned. Take care. Stay safe. And please stay healthy.